A couple days ago, I became aware of this story, and I debated doing a video on it. I wish I had, because it has evolved. This story first is Dragon lands in Cairo. China's giant Xian Y-20 strategic airlifter signal deepening Egypt-Beijing military pact. This extraordinary display of Chinese military logistics in a traditionally Western aligned region has inevitably caused concern among U.S. strategic partners, highlighting a shifting balance in influence and access. And this story goes into the unexpected arrival of 6 Chinese Y-20 strategic airlifters in Egypt. Let me go into it here. Which ignited intense speculation regarding the classified nature of their cargo, which remains undisclosed by either party. More than a logistical operation, the flights underscore a deepening defense partnership between Beijing and Cairo, a country long considered one of Washington's most critical allies in the Middle East. This extraordinary display of Chinese military logistics is a traditionally Western-aligned region has inevitably caused concern among U.S. strategic planners, highlighting a shifting balance of influence and access in the region. And this goes into the flight itself. Open source intelligence had tracked the flight from China through a technical stop in Dubai before landing on Egyptian soil. And this shows a capability that the Chinese are really perfecting and getting better and better at. With a maximum payload of 66 tons, an overall length of 47 meters, and a wingspan of 50, the YT deploy critical assets deep into contested and remote theaters. It's essentially their version of the C-17, although the C-17 is far more capable. It can carry more and has more range. You can see that they're clearly starting to catch up. This is the flight tracker of that flight itself, coming from China, landing in Dubai briefly, and then flying on into Egypt. A centerpiece of the new alignment is Egypt's acquisition of the J-10C, a 4.5 generation multi-role fighter, which began delivery to the Egyptian Air Force in early 2025. Reports from January confirm the arrival of the initial batches of J-10CE, the export variant of the J-10C, equipped with the PL-15 Beyond Visual Range air-to-air missile, a weapon designed to challenge the dominance of Western air combat systems. That's relevant because Egypt has been under sanction for so long and for so many years. Their inability to get replacement parts and weapon systems for their fleet of Rafale fighters and other weapons is very limited, which this article goes into and explains what those flights were going to do. Remember, those flights went from China to Dubai to Egypt, and their cargo was classified. Why? China and Egypt unleash historic joint air drills, shaking up Middle East strategic balance. This landmark drill symbolizes not only the accelerating momentum of Cairo-Beijing defense ties, but also broader reconfiguration in regional security dynamics, where countries like Egypt are increasingly exploring alternatives to Western-centric military partnerships. And this goes into Egypt and China are set to embark on their first ever joint Air Force exercise this month, a move that underscores the shifting contours of Middle Eastern defense alignments and quiet expansion of China's military diplomacy across a region long dominated by U.S. influence. The bilateral exercise, named Eagle of Civilization 2025, is scheduled to begin in mid-April and extend into early May, as confirmed by China's military Ministry of National Defense. This landmark drill symbolizes not only acceleration of Cairo-Beijing defense ties, but also broader reconfiguration of regional security dynamics. And this article goes into what I had just mentioned to you, the inability of nations like Egypt to get, like the Meteor missile. And they speak specifically on the Meteor missile. The Meteor air defense, the air-to-air missile, is one of the best air-to-air missiles in the world today. The French refute. Okay. Egypt's experience with its French-built Rafale fleet is a case in point, with reports confirming that the Egyptian Air Force has been denied access to the Meteor beyond visual range air-to-air missile, arguably one of the most potent weapons of its kind. The French refusal, believed to be shaped by political sensitivities and pressure from Israel, aims to prevent a disruptive shift in the regional air power balance that could result from Egypt's operating Meteor-equipped Rafales. The Meteor, with its 100-plus kilometer range, active radar seeker, and extended no-escape zone, is a technological leap in air defense, air dominance capabilities, enabling first shot, first kill potential well beyond conventional engagement envelopes. So their inability to get those is, and other systems, it's not just those, and other systems, is pushing them in the direction of Beijing. Out of this article, finally. Eagles of Civilization 2025 marks a milestone not just in symbolic diplomacy, but also in practical military integration, offering both nations a platform to refine air combat coordination, assess hardware and operational conditions, and build institutional familiarity between their armed forces. For Egypt, the exercise is a gateway to further evaluate the J-10's electronic warfare capabilities and sensor fusion systems, as well as the Y-20's strategic lift potential, critical to Cairo looks to enhance its expeditionary and rapid deployment forces. So what you have here is deepening ties between China and Egypt, with China selling multiple weapon systems, and everything that I've read here is going to be linked in the description so you can read it for yourself. You can go through all the weapon systems that have been sold to China, sold to Egypt by China, forgive me. And their ever-strengthening ties. And we can just be blunt, that's just not going to go over well with the neighbor. The neighbor next door is just not going to be pleased by that, because they're going to be given capabilities that are, we're not going to say unknown, but surprising to them. And China is more than happy to sell this to somebody like Egypt, because with the unfolding situation as it is in the Middle East, Egypt may be using these aircraft and these systems in actual combat sooner rather than later, and not for who you may think. Their situation with Ethiopia is not good. Now, it'll be Israel who prevents things like this, but it may not be them who has the usage. Things in Africa and in the Middle East are very tenuous at best. Egypt and Ethiopia are at each other's throat because Ethiopia is building a mega dam on the Nile River that threatens to cut off a good portion of Egypt's water supply, and Egypt has threatened military action against Ethiopia for that dam, which would bring them on the side of Eritrea, who Ethiopia is threatening to invade currently right now. Notice none of this involves Israel. The situation in the Middle East and Africa is tenuous at best. So this is very much a proving ground that the Chinese would be more than happy to have their military equipment tested in real, live combat situations. They'd be more than happy to have that happen. That's how you learn lessons from it. So I just wanted to bring this story up. I thought it was kind of interesting. After that strategic airlift we saw the other day from the Chinese with the Y-20 strategic aircraft, and I'm sorry for butchering the name. If you're Chinese, please forgive me. It is not my intent to butcher the names of anything. But the giant Xian Y-20 strategic airlifters, that flight caught my attention. I wish I had done a video on it, and now we know why. Now we know why. And if you liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe, share with a friend, let them know. Egypt and China, they're growing ties. This could be something the Middle East needs to keep an eye on. All parties. Thank you for joining me.